I'm Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This board workshop is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this workshop has been posted online for at least 72 hours. A recording of this workshop is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 5:20 p.m. and I'll call this workshop to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez? Trustee Cuellar?
Present.
Trustee Castillo?
Present.
Trustee Trevino? Trustee Nieto?
Present.
Trustee De Los Santos? Okay, a quorum is not required for a board workshop, but we do have a quorum. So we'll go on to item number 2, public comments, and we have none.
There are none.
Item number 3 is the Weslaco Independent School District 2024 to 2025 Budget Workshop number 1.
Thank you so much. And so with the new setup, I'm be sitting over here, but you do have your screen. We do have a copy of the presentation on our website and the supporting documents. And so when we think about the budget, I'm going to pretend that everyone has amnesia because of COVID. And so as we kind of go through this initial meeting, it's really just to kind of give you what the law says by the state of Texas, what we have to do as a school district for a budget, and kind of give the foundation of how we go about it for this upcoming school year. And so some of the things that we are going to be talking about, again, budget requirements. We'll talk about current year, which in my head, I'm already thinking of it as last year. When we think about our revenues, the biggest part is going to be the number of students. So we'll talk about that. And as we kind of project out and see some of the new costs that will pop up, how are we going to pay for it? And there's really 2 ways to go about it. One is to increase revenues or reduce costs. The budget, even though we don't have to necessarily approve the budget for the bond, I do want to give a quick little update about what's the next steps. And then lastly, just kind of like an overall review of the calendar for the next few meetings. So when we think about the budget requirements, it's not something that I say that we have to do. The state tells us what we have to do. And so since our school year starts with July 1 and ends the following year, June 30th, we have to adopt a budget before the year ends, so that when the new year starts in July 1, the budget would have already been adopted. When I say the official budget, technically in my mind, it's 3 funds. General fund, sometimes we call it maintenance fund, local fund, general fund. In my mind, they're interchangeable. Food service fund, and also our debt service. So the debt service is the fund that we use to make our bond payments. So those are the 3 that we will be sharing or talking about. So if you notice, I didn't talk about special revenue, which is in my mind grants or construction. So those are usually not necessarily have to be board approved, but whenever we do buy big stuff, we always do come for board approval. And so when we think about the budget, it has to be in place, adopted, before we spend money. And so that's one of the nice caveats about the budget. We have to first get your permission as a board to spend the funds a certain way. What we also do is have all of our information on our website. So if you go to weslacoisd.us, or wisd.us. If you go to the transparency website, you'll actually see 6 years worth of budget information, not the 3 that the state requires. And so, again, we are updating our website. So just to be more transparent, just to share more things about how we spend the district funds. And so how does TEA know about our budget? So even though we do take it to for board action, at the end of the school year, when we turn in our audit book, we also turn in our budget and the final budget. So it's always going to be as one of our schedules in our audit book, And in a sense, that's how we officially submit those electronically to the state. So how are we doing with this year's funds? And so right now, if I were to add up all the revenues for the official budget, remember, those are the three funds that we talked about earlier, $194 million is in that budget. And in my head, again, we have three types of revenue. We have the money we get from the state foundation program, which is really state monies. Our local monies is really the property taxes that we collect. The federal monies is our food service program, but also the monies we get from the indirect costs of our federal program grants. So again, we add them all up, $194 million. The biggest chunk is always going to be payroll. And so right now we're estimating about $148 million. And it's not just salaries, but it also includes benefits, stipends, and any of the extra duty pay that we have. And so when we add that up, 76% of that total budget is already allocated straight for payroll costs. Ideally, we do want to be smaller. Ideally, we want to be at 75 or even less than that. So, but right now, it's 76.2. Now, another way to think about how that 148 million is cut up, there is a part that I pay for. When I say general or local funds, but we also have state funds. So these are like our special ed program, our state comp. So the fund departments that we have, or the fund great money that we get from our federal or our state funds, they actually pay 29% out of that 148 million. And so, but if you remember what happened back in 2019 and forward, ESSER kicked in. And so some of our local or even some of our state salaries was being paid out of ESSER. Now, again, it should not be a surprise. ESSER is ending. This September will be, in a sense, the last expenses for it. October 1, everything has to either be locally funded or another grant picks up that cost. And so as we kind of gone through last year and this year, that has been the hope, that we find new homes for those funding personnel. So when I start thinking about next year, 24-25 budget year, there is some still unknowns. And so, or big challenges that every school district has to deal with. Again, the obvious one is life after ESSER. And so you hear that phrase, you hear the ESSER cliff. And so there's all these different terms, but in a sense, now we're having to say we should be able to hopefully fund the district the old way. And when I say old way, I'm talking back in 2019. And so, but we've been planning for this change when we have different funding sources. Now, I wish I could have said that I know exactly what we're going to get from the state. The state has not adopted the spending bill for education yet. Now, they're funding us like what I call old law. And so there's money set aside. They already have the money there, but they have not taken action. So the governor has not signed that bill to give that additional funds to the district. We are hoping that something will happen in the summertime so that we will know what additional funds would happen for this school year and also for the next school year. Because when the state does their budget, it's always a 2-year budget. Now, when you had COVID happening, our enrollment numbers have been kind of going up and down. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But just trying to tie those numbers to say, okay, now I'm trying to call it back to normal. Hopefully, our numbers stabilize and then we'll, with our fingers crossed, grow. And so that's always going to be something where we're always going to have to keep an eye on our enrollment and also making sure that the kids actually do come to school, which is our average daily attendance. And so what had happened 2 years ago, sad to say, what happened at Robb Elementary, it caused a lot of changes on how school districts run operations for safety. And so some of the big things that hopefully we all remember is that now we have an armed police guard or armed officer or security guard now at every campus. And even though they say, yes, I'm giving you $15,000 per campus and $10 per kid, that is not sufficient to pay for all the staff for that. And so we call that unfunded mandates. It's something that is required that the district has to pay out of our own funds for complying. And so right now we're talking about that one, but there's others. Exterior doors, gates, just different aspects of keeping our campuses safe. A lot of those are funded, but not to the level that it is something where it's 100% covered by the state. It's almost like it's a 50-50 type of deal. And so the greatest thing that happened back in November 7, 2023 was the bond. And so as we complete projects, maintenance of those items is going to be lessened. In other words, if I have a brand new AC unit, well, for 6 to 8 years, it should be okay. We should be seeing some savings on our maintenance department in the near future. But also, did the bond cover every single cost that's out there? It didn't. And so if we were to go off and say, what if we needed to change out everything that is truly needed for the district? Well, the bond would have been closer to $300 to $400 million. We only received 160. That's what the public approved. So there may be other needs that will pop up as we kind of go through this wave of building improvements. And so as we kind of think about all those things that are going to be happening, the hope is so that we could prepare a budget that has these items in mind. So one of the things I started talking about was, how do we get our money? We are funded by the attendance of our students. So, but first we always need to talk about how many are actually enrolled. So I like kind of going over so many years just to kind of give us a nice picture of how it had been. So I'm kind of calling it the before COVID, which is that first column. 16,536 kids. That was the enrollment back in, was the month, or March 2020 was COVID, kind of a 122 school year, we dropped about 1,000 kids. If you think about that, that's a very large elementary or a whole work of everybody. It grew by 1,000 the following year, 22-23 school year. And so right now, if we were to kind of go back in time and look on February 26th of last month, 16,416 kids was the enrollment for Weslaco. That fluctuates every single day, but at least on February 26th, what is going to be the number of kids for all the different campuses by the different demographics of our kids? We are anticipating a very conservative increase, 0.4%. So what we are hoping for and what we be planning on, 16,476 kids enrolled. In your backup, you do have a breakdown of every single campus for the past 5 years. And so that way we can kind of see how we're projecting out for next year. Now, what I do hope is that I hope I'm wrong. And wrong meaning I'm hoping that everybody just brings in more kids. But we do feel confident that we will at least hit that number enrollment-wise. Now, I don't get paid on enrollment. We get paid based on ADA. Now, our little ones, the ones that are in the pre-K3, pre-K4, we only get funded half of their attendance. So when you kind of do the numbers, we are conservatively, again, projecting that we fund it by 90%. Now, I hope we are going to get more than 90%. But that's kind of how our numbers work out, so that our new ADA for next year would grow 500 more kids than what we budgeted for this school year. So we're hoping for 14,500 ADA. And so the more kids we have in the district, the more money we could put back into investing in all the different campuses and departments.
Mr. Rebel, if I may say, I went to some awards assemblies today. I know the procedure here because there's a difference between enrollment and ADA, and sometimes people get confused. Well, your enrollment is high, yes, but the kids need to come to school or else we don't get the money. And so I thank you, principals and staff, for working on that with the kids. Much appreciated.
Go ahead.
So we have like one or two more slides. And so slide 7, we talk about what are we going to do for next school year. And so just like you had just made that comment, we always want to be improving our enrollment and our ADA. The money is going to. The money is going towards salaries. So that's why we're always going to be looking at the campuses and departments, try to see how we could still get the job done the best way for the kids, but let's see if we could kind of squeeze a little bit here, a little bit there, so that the money could go back, more likely, hopefully, pay raises. And so, again, just how we talked about for the bonds, that those projects will hopefully relieve the district budget of maintenance costs. And so one thing that we are working with is our risk management department, working with the Employees Benefit Committee to see what are other big costs within the benefits plan, which is health insurance. And so we are kind of like doing a deep dive into seeing what cost we could kind of try to trim. That way we don't have to do a premium increase. And so so for the bond, there's going to be some few great things that are going to be happening in the next month and a half. We will be working on the selection of the bond underwriters, which is on one of our agenda items. We will be having our phone call interviews with the credit rating agencies. And then, sure enough, May, we price the bonds. Late May, we get the money. And so, but if we have bills to pay, the district will pay and we will just get reimbursed. And so the last slide that we have here is really the calendar. Again, today was just kind of to get an overall review of how the budget gets prepared. Next time we meet, and the greatest thing, we're just going to have a quick 15-minute or less presentation right before the board meeting. So the next one, we will talk about revenues. Workshop number 3, the one in May, we talk about expenditures. And so that by the time we get together for the June meeting, we will have hopefully a balanced or a surplus budget to start the new year.
Do we have any questions from any board members for Mr. Robledo?
No, I just wanted to highlight one of the factors that you brought up on your slides. You have a lot of good points. One of the things is for the homestead increase. So that's what you're talking about as far as local, right? As far as what what the income is gonna be there, and then plus additionally the state, what the state decides to do?
Exactly. So what happened this year for us, when the people approved the 100,000 home exemption, it technically reduced property taxes.
Right.
That was the whole intent. The flip side is that I still need to be made whole, meaning if I'm supposed to get, and I'm totally making up a dollar, $123 million from the foundation and taxes, well, now I'm going to get less taxes. Well, the state will come in and, in a sense, fill in that gap. And so, if I remember right, in our January board meeting, we had one agenda item that dealt with budget amendments. So we saw about a $7 million kind of change flip for that. And so the state is now taking a bigger brunt of helping us educate the kids here.
No, I just wanted to say that the administration, the superintendent, I mean, since 2021, and the board as well too as a whole, they enacted, closing down positions because of attrition, right? They started downsizing because everybody knew that the fiscal financial cliff, what TA called it, was going to be in spring of 24. So y'all have done an amazing job, and so has administration and whatnot. Like you said, delegating authorities, taking on more duties, spreading that out, but to prepare the district and the organization as a whole for what's coming at the end of spring. And we can already see that in the media. You already see the postings of other districts and some of the, I guess what you would say, some of the actions that they're going to have to take in order to keep operating.
Yeah.
And so you all have done an amazing job, and even my fellow trustees as well over the last 3 years to get to this point. Dr. Rivera as well, with an exceptional budget that has surplus, which it should be the standard in the way it is, right, across the entire valley. So just want to note that, because you all have done an amazing job, and I'm saying that as a taxpayer and as a parent. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
So I was sharing with the team, if you were to look in today's newspaper, not necessarily in our local one, KWES ISD, you would hear some sad news going on over there. Arlington ISD, near Dallas. They're using the word that we never liked, pink slips.
Right.
And so, again, that is the hope, to find homes for our staff.
Right,
Or new homes.
exactly.
Any other comments or questions?
Good presentation, Mr. Robledo. Now, do we receive the majority of the funds by May 2024? The majority of the 160 or
All of it.
all of it? Okay. So
Yes.
that gives us opportunities to continue with whatever we need to do for the school district.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we will get the 160 million.
Right.
Probably a few extra dollars for interest, and we'll put it in different safe places
Correct.
to earn money. And so even though we have 160 million, phase one of the bond projects, if we were to pay them all out, that's about 41 million.
Right.
So you still have 120 earning interest. And so we are going to be changing up our investment report for it to be monthly. Right now, we do it quarterly. And so we're hoping that once the money gets here, we'll be then having those reports for you, just so you can have it FYI type of deal.
Okay.
And any interest goes back to the bond projects. So,
All right. Good presentation.
Anybody else?
I have a couple
Mr.
questions.
Castillo?
Same thing that the other trustee said, good job. You know, a bunch of school districts are kind of dealing with deficits and whatnot this year. And Dr. Rivera dealt with it last year, so this year we don't really have to be dealing with those types of issues. But I just have a couple questions on your presentation. On page 4, this is the 2023-2024 budget, right, review? This is the current one?
that is correct.
So you put in here that our projected official budget total expenditures equates to 194.4 million. And I might be wrong, but I remember passing a $180 million budget.
There has been other updates to the budget. So anytime we increase our revenues, we do bring them to the board as a budget amendment.
Okay, so those budget amendments, just to kind of refresh our memory, where did that money come from? Did it come from our fund balance or?
No, so what had happened, at least one of the items that had occurred, we had initially started the budget with 14,000 kids, thinking that that's what we are going to have as our ADA. 4th 6 weeks snapshot, and we kind of take an average. You will see this in the superintendent's report. We increased about 600 kids. So those 600 kids is additional funds to the
Okay,
district.
so we got those. All right, so double checking, we're not in a $14 million
no.
deficit, because somebody will catch that.
Yeah. Another big one was interest income. If you
Okay.
saw yesterday, the Fed chair, Mr. Powell, he's holding rates. For me, interest income is a good thing. Later on, when I talk about the bond, that's not a good thing. I want
Yeah.
those rates to come down. But right now, we're earning 5.5% more or less on the monies that we have invested. So
Would you have the number, so you have the expenditures here, but you don't have the revenues. Would you have that number handy as it stands today?
it is in our financial agenda item in consent.
What is it?
Let me get it real quick. Hold on. So under our consent for local funds, so I'm going to be picking on the second page of our financial statement. We do have a budget of 181, expenditures of 191. So so this is as of February. We have as part of our budget amendments where we will be increasing some of those revenues to make it out to the 194.
Okay, but none coming from fund balance? Not that you expect?
Not for revenues.
Okay.
And so another fun thing was that whole concept of interest income. So when we first budget interest income for the whole district, we thought we were going to get about 1.5 million. Again, being conservative, thinking that we have so much money in the bank, earning 5.5%, we're actually going to increase it about 3 million for this year. So
All right,
instead of
cool.
1 million, 1.5, it's really going to be about 4.5.
All right, so I was asking that question so I could set up the questions that I have next, asking to spend money, but I just wanted to make sure we had money. So, all right, awesome. Thank you for clearing that up. And then as far on your slide on page 7, when you're talking about for next year, budget options to increase revenue and reduce costs, I mean, this is a total I statement, right? But campus consolidations, that's always kind of the last step.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing I would say that would be if I have to do, and I'm totally making it up, I need somebody to cover the front office for phone calls, I'm not going to give a person a new job for that. I'm going to be asking all the staff within the front office, hey, can everyone chip in and
Okay.
cover? That's what it was more.
Yeah, so I mean, I would hope that the campus consolidations would be the last kind of thing that we do. I'd rather do department consolidations before campus consolidations.
Yeah.
You know, schools,
It's mostly duties.
We're not going to close schools.
yeah, because that could be traumatizing.
Because most of the campuses had, even those that were low at the beginning, had increases going into the second semester.
That is correct.
And even then, at that point, they're still at a healthy capacity, so
Yeah,
it's not
no-
a student issue, you're just talking about additional staff that may be in the area.
Yes, that's what
Okay,
I'm
just to
saying.
confirm.
And that was going to be kind of my next comment as far as campus consolidations. I mean, if you look at our attendance or our enrollment numbers at our elementaries, I mean, you have some close to 1,100 and then you have others at 500. And so I don't know if it's. maybe it's
500
a
is
zone-
still okay.
A zoning thing or, well, ask the principal that has 1,100 versus the principal that has 500.
Yeah.
No.
That's kind of a discussion we had too. I want to piggyback off of Trustee Castillo that we talked about that the shifting of populations because we had almost a open, I know we're an open enrollment district, but it was almost like a school of choice option. I think by really sticking to your zones and making sure that people, because all of our campuses are highly successful.
Yeah.
And so if they stay within their area, we're not overloading another campus in a different area and then their resources. And I think that'll take care of that problem, right? Because you do have some at maximum capacity already.
And I know our CNI team is really looking into that.
Right.
Awesome.
So,
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you for money. So there's a couple of things, and again, these are all I statements, right? These are, I mean, I'm sure the board would agree with some of these stuff, but to me, one thing that I would like to see the board invest and the administration invest in are gates at all the campuses. I know we have fences, but our gates are open. during the day, and we do have that security system at the door, but some districts have that buzzing deal at the gate, actually. And so I don't know if it's financially reasonable, but it would be great if we could kind of at least price it out to see if it's something that we could do, because that's the first check-in is at the gate as opposed to the front door. So that would be kind of one thing that I would be interested in seeing, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels. And then my other question, Doc, are we moving forward with the PD, or we're just going to invest more in security?
For right now, we're staying the same. We're not going to go into a police department.
Okay.
For right now. It's the cost, and it's kind of, we're doing okay the way it is right now. It's working.
Yeah. It was just kind of improve kind of some of our operational efficiencies there.
Dr., I know we
And
had
I'll get to
a,
that in a slide when my report comes up.
I
I'll
know that
explain one.
you guys had said about the COPS grant. Are there any other grants that, not right now that I'm taking a grant class, that I'm learning about all these different opportunities? Are there any kind of grants that you guys know will become available or might become available in the future that might help out with?
Yes, we're looking into this. Mr. Reyna's looking into this. And
Okay.
any grant that will help us, we're going to take advantage.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
And then just my last kind of comment on FFA. I know we talked about ag barns and potentially updating that. If there's any way that we could see if there's any funds to do that for that.
There was bond
Oh,
money
perfect.
set aside for it.
All right.
Well, now that he brought it up.
There you go.
off that. I know before, when I first came in on 2020, 2021, the cost started to inflate because COVID was barely taking off. And so, but now that we're back to an area of where you kind of seen all that disappear, okay? Costs are down, construction costs are down in some cases. At first, for us to look at what I just disagreed with was just refurbishing the facility. You know, compared to other districts, especially up north, that actually built full brand-new facilities, the cost comparison just didn't match, right? Because if you're looking at north of San Antonio and they built a whole brand-new facility from the ground up and spent excess amount of dollars, and yet we were looking at refurbishing current existing facilities with improvements, and yet we were almost at around the same. Could there be an option of looking at a complete brand-new facility? Because I've seen the facilities that are out there, and it's way past its lifespan. But the only thing that troubled me was I did a little bit of research, and I said, okay, well, how are we building this up north at almost the same cost that we're looking at refurbishing? So there's a discrepancy. Is that something maybe the administration can look at too when we start moving into the bond phase?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
We're talking about to fix the old or get something new.
Right.
So we'll look at both options.
All right, any other questions or comments from any other board members? All right.
We're in good shape.
I would like to see if, can we go to the next slide? The one that shows the breakdown, that shows the dates, that one there. Is there a way I'd like to see us schedule a individual day workshop instead of one prior to a meeting like today, where we can ask more questions and dig into this a little bit more, because I think the last few years, this has been thrown at us, you know, and I'd really like to be able to dig into this a little bit more and have the opportunity to ask more questions.
I think we can do that. It's feasible.
Yeah.
And I would recommend, I don't know, something between May 21st to June 25th, something before the big, I guess, the final.
I think we should do
To
it
finalize
for the
it.
second one, or workshop number 2,
Yeah.
before we go to 3 or 4. I'm okay with that,
So we'll schedule a special
Yeah, just a-
board workshop, Dr. Rivera?
to cover everything.
Okay, we can do that. Sounds good.
I
Were you
think
saying
something,
something?
but I'll hold off on it.
The only reason I was saying budget 3 or in between 3 and 4 is so we can get all that information covered in there or presented to us instead of, and maybe that would be the goal anyways, but instead of having things presented to us here in April with things still pending, I'd like a presentation of everything all at once
Yeah.
and be able to break down everything at once.
We could do that.
I'll meet with the board president and
Yes.
see if you want a 2 or a 3.
Sounds good. We'll get together and we'll talk and we'll see what is the best date to do that. All right, there are no other Questions or comments? We will adjourn the meeting. And just for the record, Mr. De Los Santos joined at 5:23 p.m., Mr. Trevino joined at 5:29 p.m., and Mr. Rodriguez joined at 5:49 p.m., and this meeting is adjourned. So we'll move on to the regular board meeting. Does anybody need a break or need to get up or anything? All right. I know there's kids out there waiting to come in, so let's begin. Do we have any, no? All right, thank you. Public comments? Do I have to call here again or no? All right, I'll begin the regular board meeting. Good evening once again. I'm Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 5:57 p.m., and I will call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Cuellar?
Present.
Trustee Castillo?
Present.
Trustee Trevino?
Present.
Trustee Nieto.
Present.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Present.
All right, let the record show that a quorum of board members is in attendance. We'll move on to item number 3, the invocation by Mr. Elias Trevino, Director of Assessment and Accountability.
Let us bow our heads and let us pray. Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. We honor and magnify your holy name. Thank you for the gift of life, health, family, friends, strength, and physical ability to work to provide for our families. Thank you for your faithfulness and protection over the lives of our students, staff, and families. We thank you for the blessing of gathering once again as a corporate body and the privilege to serve this most beautiful community of Weslaco. Father, as is always our petition, we ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our board. There is abundant blessing and joy in serving others who wholeheartedly expect nothing in return. Lord, may your will be done in our board meetings. Help us to maintain integrity in what you have left in our care. Pour over our administrators, staff, and teachers wisdom, integrity, patience, and the physical and mental strength to finish this year strong. Help us to make every day count. As our students begin the testing season, we pray clarity of mind, peace in their hearts, and the knowledge that they have obtained throughout the year flood back into their hearts and minds as they challenge the tests. We believe they will do amazingly well. There is gratitude in our hearts for all that you have done, are doing, and will do in the days to come. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus, and everyone says, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Item number 4 is the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge with Mr. Daniel Buttimer.
Thank you. At this time, we'd ask everyone to please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and turn towards the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'd ask everyone to remain standing, right hand over their heart for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Buttimer. We'll move on to item number 5, the awards and recognitions with Mr. Robledo.
Yes. Madam President, Dr. DeVeta, members of the board, tonight we celebrate several campuses that have successfully increased attendance during the 4th 6 weeks of school. Attendance is key for student success, and these campuses have set up several incentives to decrease absences. These schools met the district's ADA targeted for the 4th 6 weeks. With a 95.5% ADA, we'd like to congratulate Central Middle School. Shake everybody's hand. Thank you. We would like to congratulate the next school with a 96.8% ADA, Memorial Elementary. Up next with a 97.4% ADA, Kleckler Held Elementary. Continuing on with the district's ADA targeted goal for the fourth 6 weeks, the next school had a 98.7% ADA, South Palm Gardens High School. The next campuses achieved near standard average daily attendance, and we have Dr. R.E. Margot Elementary. Up next, we have Rodolfo Rudy Silva Elementary. The next school achieving near standard average daily attendance, we have Sam Houston Elementary. Up next, we have B. Garza Middle School. One more school to recognize on the near standard average daily attendance, we have Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School. Take a quick photo. All right, how about a big hand for our principals? Up next, we would like to congratulate our high school mariachi groups for their tremendous success this season. Tonight, the Weslaco High School Mariachi Pantera and the Weslaco East High School Mariachi Tijuani both received a Division I ratings at the area, qualifying for the UIL State Mariachi competition. We'll start off recognizing the members of Mariachi Pantera. As I say your name, students, if you can come up and shake the hand of the board members, okay? We'll start off with Ismael Castillo. Aiden De La Rosa. Raul Garza. Up next, we have Angel Guerra. Up next, Mateo Houston. Nadia Lugo. Fatima Luna. Up next, we have Daniel Martinez. Karina Martinez. Jaime Olivares. Justin Ortiz. Angela Reyes. Rudy Torres. I'm sorry. His first name is Randy. Apologize for that. Mario Vallejo. And this person received an Outstanding Performer Medal at the 6A UIL State Mariachi Competition. We'd like to recognize Athena Gonzalez. And we'd also like to recognize the Mariachi Director from Weslaco High School, Jose Zamora. And parents, if you're here, parents, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents of these students. Come on, right there. You can exit right there. There you go. Congratulations. Up next, we would like to recognize the Weslaco ISD High School Mariachi Tecuani, as they too received a Division I rating at area, qualifying for the UIL State Mariachi Competition. Representing the Weslaco ISD High School Mariachi Tecuani, we'll start off with Eileen de la Cruz. Isaiah Espinosa. Alexa Quintero. Leslie Quintero. Ricardo de Alva. Edward de Alva. Alexa Trevino. Up next, these three students received Outstanding Performer medals at the UIL 5A State Mariachi Competition. They are Giara Ortiz, Ariana Sustaita, and Alessandra Sustaita. We would like to recognize their mariachi director, Pierre Sustaita. And we also would like to congratulate mariachi advisor, Mario Ferrer. And we'd also like to recognize parents. If parents are here, can you please stand and be recognized? All right, we will take a photo. All right. We have some more student recognitions. We'll move on to athletics now. And tonight we want to celebrate the Weslaco High School girls wrestling team for their 16 6A district championship title. The girls finished their season with an overall team record of 22-1. All girls on the championship team advanced and placed at the top 3 at regionals. This is the 3rd team championship since 2015. All right, so district champions and regional qualifiers are silver medalists in the 100-pound division, Yasmin Cruz. Bronze medalist, 107 division, Madison Reyes. Silver medalist, 114 division, Allison Salaya. Silver medalist in the 126-pound division, Electra Garces. Silver medalist in the 132 division, Brisa Rodriguez. Silver medalist in the 145 division, Ruby Ann Garces. Silver medalist in the 152 division, Maya Sandoval. Bronze medalist, 235 division, Melanie Avila. And we have a district champion in the 138 division, Janelle Ramirez. The wrestling head coach is Moises Chavez. He is not here tonight. He has another event, but he says he is extremely proud of this team and he can't wait to repeat next year. So congratulations, students. I know we have the assistant coach here as well. Congratulations, coach. And parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized as well. Parents. We have another team that we would like to congratulate and recognize here on the athletic side. Tonight, we want to congratulate the Weslaco ISD High School boys basketball team, who just completed the 2024 season with an overall record of 28-9 and a district record of 17-1. The 32-5A district champions have made a playoff appearance for 3 years in a row now. Several players also received individual distinctions. Making the all-academic team, we'll start off with Gianni Ortiz. Also all-academic team, Angel Covarrubias. Also making all-academic team, Aaron Cardenas. Receiving honorable mention, all academic team honors, are Edgar Zamora. Honorable mention, all academic team honors, Devin Hobbs. Also honorable mention, all academic team, Trey Hernandez. Receiving second team, all district, all academic team honors, Emmy Duran. Receiving first team, all district, defensive team distinction, Alex Martinez. Receiving first team, all district academic team distinction, EJ Garza. Receiving 32-5A Defensive MVP and the RGV Vipers All Selections distinction, Jediah Rivens. Receiving 32-5A District Most Valuable Player, All Academic Team, and also on the RGV Vipers All Selection distinctions, Zion Rodriguez. We would also like to recognize the coaching staff. We'll start off with the assistants, Felipe Cid, Anthony Contreras, Andrew Rangel, Danny Zuniga, Abel Angulo, and we'd also like to recognize their head coach, who was the District 32-5A Coach of the Year, Zeke Rodriguez. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents? And Madam President, that concludes our awards and recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Robledo. That's awesome. Congratulations to everybody, all the kids, the parents, the staff. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Proclamation.
I'll give them some time to walk out. We'll move on to item number 6, the proclamations. And I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. It says, Weslaco Independent School District has a long-standing tradition of excellence and strives to bring together all resources to provide our students and staff with the best opportunities for success. Therefore, I, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco Independent School District Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as the month of the military child. Do we have anybody here? I think all the kids walked out already, but it's month of the military child, and we also proclaim in April 2024 the Gifted and Talented Awareness Week, National Library Week, Public School Volunteer Week, After School Professionals Appreciation Week, and Administrative Professionals Day, and Administrative Assistants. So in Weslaco ISD, we urge all citizens to recognize with appreciation our district's commitment to education and helping our children achieve their highest potential. So we can have a round of applause for all those staff. All right. We'll move on to item number 7, which is public comments.
There are none.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 8, the superintendent's report.
Yes. Let me start with the enrollment. The enrollment, you can see the enrollment last year compared to this year, we're at a plus 648. Now, I want to comment here and just say that some Regional 1 districts are losing enrollment, and we're actually gaining enrollment. So I'm very happy for that. Let me also say that on the counts, some of the counts showed some growth, and some are kind of steady. So we're looking at the new homes in these areas, and we're also looking to study the possible rezoning as we try to match the enrollment with the bigger schools and the smaller schools. So again, we're looking at all of this, but the main thing here is that we're showing an enrollment growth. On page 2, I'm happy to report some information here. Our budget was based on 14,000 students for the entire year. So if we reach this mark, if we go above, we get additional monies. If we go below, we have to return monies. So you can see for the first and second and third and fourth 6 weeks, the average for all four, the refined average right now is 14,226. And the SASE is a plus 435. So right now, if the school year ended today, this would be the amount of money that we receive. But now we have 2 difficult 6 weeks, the 5th and the 6th. So again, these figures are preliminary. They're based on enrollment. And again, to the right, you can see the campuses. The standard for elementary is 96. Middle school is 95. The high school is 94. And again, to the right, you see the schools that were recognized today: Collector Hill, Memorial, Central, and South Palm Gardens. The ones that were very near the standard was Cuellar, Bigarza, Sam Houston, Margot, and Silva. So again, the figure right now on the budget is a plus $5.6 million, which is very good. But again, hard work for the next 6 weeks. On page 3, also part of the budget. These are estimated, anticipated revenues to balance the 24 budget, and then the new one. The first item is, as you're aware, we inherited a budget deficit of $16 million that staff and I reduced to $9 million in August. So since then, these are additional revenues. On B, as of the 4th 6 weeks, what I mentioned earlier, it's almost $2 million right now of additional revenues as of the 4th 6 weeks. And then the SASE, again, through the 4th 6 weeks, is almost $3.7 million. As Mr. Robelo mentioned on D, for next year, we're going to increase the ADA from 14,000 to 14,500. That will bring in an additional $4 million. There are many grants we've applied for and gotten, and so far the remaining grants is about $5.8 million. On F, even though the legislature has not come up and they come up with new monies, TA has a formula, a template. So with that template, usually they increase the ADA a little bit. So we're looking, again, this is just estimated, we're looking on those an additional $3 million. On G, this is the payroll cost reductions from the ones that retired to the ones that we hire. Usually the ones that retire make more money, they're maxed out, and the new hires receive less money based on the formulas. So we anticipate about $1 million difference. It's probably going to be more, but these are conservative figures. Again, as we mentioned on the interest for 24, it's more than $3 million. Right now we're being conservative. There was a property value audit that occurred this year, and we received an additional $1 million. Now, on J, there's going to be some remaining monies not used from the 24 budget, so we anticipate about $2 million. Now, on K, the reduction in maintenance budget due to bond projects, about $500,000. It's probably going to be more. So as we total all of this, the surplus is $26 million. But from this surplus, we have to reduce the $9 million for the deficit. So now we have $17 million surplus. So again, these are good figures, and most districts are having difficulties. And again, I attribute my team, the principals, everyone involved. It's a team effort. So right now with a surplus of $25 million to $17 million, these are monies for the 25 budget. So now, if you look on page 4, from the $17 million, the surplus, we're going to use $8 million of that for salaries for next year. So we still have $9 million left to go ahead and fund other projects. So again, financially, we are in good shape. So the 8 million is going to our pay raise to our teachers, nurses, and librarians, a $2,000 raise for everyone. All other staff, 3%. On C, all districts gave ESSER stipends, and the money's gone. So what we are going to do through local monies, we're going to continue that effort and pay $1,000 in December and $1,000 in May to all staff. On D, with the monies we have in the budget right now, we have available $2.3 million to upgrade the laptops in our technology department. We're looking to update new furniture. On F, we're looking at sensory rooms at all the elementary schools. Right now, we have 3 campuses with sensory rooms. Sensors are more like a relaxing atmosphere where the kids can cool down, emotional behavior difficulties. So we're going to start with the elementaries. And then the plan is to go ahead and include the secondaries. And again, we mentioned the workshops. And we're going to have a workshop, as you all discussed earlier, a workshop entirely just on the budget. And again, on H, again, all ESSER funded staff, and there were a lot of them throughout the state, throughout Region 1. And in Weslaco ISD, I'm proud to say that by October the 1st, no one's going to lose their job, but everyone from ESSER funded is going to another fund. So again, with the budget for 24-25, we're standing strong, and no one lost their jobs. We did not reduce schools. Some schools are consolidating schools. So again, we're very, very good right now, and we still have a $9 million surplus from all the activities that we did. On page 7, this is where the money comes in, the $8 million. You can see from Region 1, these are the districts, the beginning teacher salary. You can see right now, PSJA is the highest. This was for 22-23, I'm sorry, 23-24. Then comes Edinburgh, Mission, Donna, South Texas, and Weslaco. Then you have La Jolla, Harlingen, Los Fresnos, Brownsville, McAllen, Head Couch, San Benito, and Mercedes. So now with the $4,000, the salary, the $4,000 will go to $59,000. So for next year, we should be among the highest. Now I know the districts that are here, they'll probably give a raise too, but I don't think anyone is going to give the $2,000 incentive pay that was used from ESSER funds. I think it's just going to be us. So again, we should be one of the highest. So we're having a job fair next week, and to attract the new teachers. Right now, we're not overstaffed. We're just where we need to be. On the bottom here, yesterday I received a notice of a Facebook posting that had information about salaries. That information was really incorrect, and I don't know where they got the information, but I can tell you that no one, on the ones that appeared, we had people that had over $100,000 in their salary. That was incorrect. And they were clerks that were making this amount, but that was incorrect. I just want to say to the public that if they saw that Facebook posting, that this information is incorrect. I will tell you that no one, this happened before my time as to how this mistake occurred, but it's gotten corrected. So again, no one is making the amount of money that was shared in that Facebook.
You know, before moving on, Dr. Rivera, I just want to highlight that this is exceptional news.
Yes.
Exceptional information, and I think that our community, our taxpayers, when they see as we get closer to the end of the spring semester, they're going to see just how much the administration all working together has really taken care of their tax dollars, their students, the staff, et cetera. So it's a commendable job.
Thank you.
Outstanding, sir.
Thank you. Again, it's a board assistance. We're a team, and also the principals, the staff. We all combine to make these things possible, but also with the big support of the board. So you all are responsible too for what we have today. So I commend the board. On page 6, this is the intruder audit detection findings. This is by TA. As it was mentioned earlier, there's things that are mandated and we have no control. They're mandated issues that we have to go out there and correct. But every time there's an audit, a finding, we have to show the board there was one campus that had a door open and it's been corrected. On part 2, we did meet compliance with a new law that says you have to have at least one armed security guard per campus. And we met this since the first day of school. You can see on A, right now we have 23 armed security guards. And last year there were none. This is our own security guards. They've gone back, gotten certified. And so I commend them. We've hired 20 non-armed security guards through a company. And we have 20 non-armed security guards that we have right now that have not gone to get certified. And 12 armed security guards that we contract with other vendors. Eventually on B, the 20 non-armed security guards, eventually, we may have to grandfather them for the time being. Anyone that we hire now has to be certified. So in this department, again, that's the goal, to have everyone, all security guards armed. And we do hire eight campus SROs at Weslaco High, Weslaco East, Central, KWES, and Big Arts, and Mary Hogue, and we have one rover. So we talked about earlier about a police department. And right now, we'll study this, but with everyone being armed, I don't know if there's going to be a need for us to have our own police department unless we get a grant. So right now I feel comfortable with the security guards that we have, and we contract out with the SROs. So again, this might change as we look at grants, as we look at what needs to be done, but right now we're comfortable with the setup the way it is. But again, this can change. On page 7, I want to provide a status of board-approved construction projects. Now, these are non-bond, and all of these are paid for already. And to give you a timeline, the digital billboard is on engineering phase, and the goal is to have this ready by the football season in fall of '24. The Weslaco East Stadium scoreboard is in the construction right now, and we should have this ready by May 24. The playground equipment is on the agenda tonight under consent, and this is complete. The drainage at Weslaco East South Side, we're looking at final completion, and this will be complete. The HVAC upgrades at Memorial, Northbridge, and Airport, this is the one that we've fallen behind with Trinity. They're about 7 months behind, and the target now is the spring. It's going to be a whole year by the time they finish. And we're on them to make sure that they complete the project. And had they been on target, we would have finished by November of '24. So again, we're working with Trinity to get on the ball and finish this project. The vestibules at Silva, Gonzalez, and Memorial, they should be ready by August 24. The fuel tanks in transportation, the engineering phase should be ready by September. The district stadium LED lighting is on tonight's agenda to go ahead and rescind the method of construction and go with the co-op. And this should be ready by July of '24. On page 8, the projects continue. We have the aquatic center, and the target date is June 24. The demolition of the old central gym, and to build a new cafeteria there. The agenda will be next month to go ahead and go with the architect and method of construction to go ahead and demolish the old central gym. The playground equipment, the canopy, is the engineering phase, should be ready by August. The exterior door replacements, safety standards, should be ready by September of this September coming. The fencing safe grant is in progress. again, the fall of '24. The marquee signs at KWES, Mary Ho Middle School, Kate, should be ready, it's complete, and we should approve this in April. The automotive welding equipment, the grant that we had, is complete. There's an agenda item in April. The district stadium lift, this is to help at the stadium to help individuals on wheelchairs to go up to the last on the porch area. Should be ready by August. On page 9, this is the status of the bond election projects. You can see the roofing and building envelope, the HVAC, restroom improvement, the vestibules, fire alarm, the band director's tower, the lighting upgrades, the tracks, tennis courts, the field turf replacements. The contract's already in place, so the next step is to go out there and do the design for them by the architect or the engineer, and then the construction documents, and then put it out to bid. On tonight's agenda, on the bond projects, we have the bond underwriters to go ahead and approve the bond underwriters to start selling the bonds to get our monies. And then the last slide that I have is something also that we're working on with Region 1. It's the dropout prevention program. And this is for students who have dropped out. And the ages are the ages will be from 18, maybe 18 to 22, 23. And we're looking at the plan to have 2 groups. And the core areas in math, ELA, social studies, and science, 1 administrator, maximum 30 or 40 students. And what I want to do here is work with our present staff, not to have to hire anyone. I think we can do it within our staff to be able to do this, either additional pay, work an additional hour. But I think we can do this without a big expense on our part. And again, on tonight, there's an agenda item to go ahead and approve this dropout prevention program to help those kids, the 18 to 26 that have dropped out of school. Again, working with Region 1. I think Danny King did this in PSJA, and we're working with Region 1 to go ahead and implement this program. 10 slides, 10 really powerful slides. Yeah. This is my report. Any questions from the board?
Board, do you have any questions or comments?
Just to acknowledge the outstanding job that y'all are doing, staff, and keep it going, Dr. Rivera.
Thank you. It's a team effort. Beginning with the board, your support.
And being proactive on these dropouts, the majority of them is because of probably their credits and their STEM mandated tests, correct?
Yes.
It's a good program.
Thank you. There's also interest from outside Weslaco, but we're going to look at our kids first and then go outside Weslaco ISD.
Good.
Dr. Rivera, just to clarify on, you mentioned it briefly, but on the 20 non-armed security guards, you said that those would probably be grandfathered? Grandfathered, okay. Make sure.
As soon as they retire, the replacement will be someone certified.
Okay. Thank you.
But that's the goal. That's the goal, to have them all certified.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doc, I just want to thank you for your foresight when you came in about a year ago and kind of telling us that we had this budget deficit of $16 million and working on it, and having all of us strap our strap our wallets a little bit more. And I appreciate it now because, like I said, I sit through a bunch of board meetings where the opposite is being discussed, and we're able to say that we have a surplus, and that's amazing. I don't know any district that's in that position.
I've been getting calls. How are you doing? Yeah.
They're calling me too and asking me. I don't know. Call Dr. Rivera.
I'm getting calls.
So thank you, Doc, for that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And then,
We're going to probably be one of the only ones. 6A.
Yeah, I think so. And then, Doc, I just want to thank you as well for looking out for our teachers on your proposed plan. And I think it's really smart the way you're structuring it. $2,000 to the actual base pay, but an additional $2,000 as stipend. So in reality, our teachers are looking at a $4,000 raise for next year.
Right.
And I don't think any school district's going to do that. So that's awesome, Doc. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then just kind of one other comment, I wrote it over here. On our security, so we have a total of 63 security staff, security personnel. So, yeah, I mean, are we covered? Are we good?
We're good. We've been communicating, Mr. Reyna, myself, keeping close contact with our local vendor to take care of the needs within our campuses, so we're good right now.
And we're gonna explore renewing that SRO agreement with the city?
Yes.
I'd imagine.
Yes.
All right, awesome. And then, yeah, that 18 to 26 program, it's really nice. I mean, that just shows our dedication to every kid in the district, no matter how old you are, whatever circumstances may have happened. We're here to help you. So thank you,
Yes,
Doc, for
thank you.
implementing that.
Actually, Ben, it was the data, the survey was taken from all of Region 1, right? And I just saw the survey right now, and it listed to pick a city, which would they rather go to, and it was all of Region 1, and most of them, 47%, chose Weslaco. So we're the heart of the valley here, you know, we have a lot to offer because of our location. So it's really great, like you said, you know, that we're offering, if we can offer that.
Thank you.
All right, any other,
Doctor,
oh, yes.
I would, again, great job, as everybody has said. But I would like for us to really take a look at the rezoning. I know you just came on board recently, but I know it's been in the talks here often. Can we really look at doing something here just to help with the class loads and things like that? I think it would help schools like Memorial that has 1,100 kids, you know, compared to other schools that have 500 students. So if we can really look at implementing a new rezoning.
Yeah, we're looking at it. We're also looking, though, many of these kids are not zoned to that school.
Yes.
But the principal takes them. There are a lot of these, at Memorial especially.
So what can we do there then? What are we gonna do? Are
We're
we
gonna have to revoke the transfers eventually, and say you have to go back to your school where you're zoned to.
I know when we do they still have the website. I know one year we had the website, and that it gave parents a choice. They had all campuses as a choice. We've already fixed that. I know that was something we discussed a little before you came on board, Dr. Rivera. But at one point, they had launched the enrollment portal, and it wasn't sticking to where they were zoned. They were having all options, and I know that we were going to go back.
Yeah, we fixed it. We fixed it, yeah.
Okay.
So now wherever you're from, Donna, whatever, you have to go to a school where there's
Or northwest,
sufficient.
In short, I can add, basically now you have to input your address and your address will zone you to the proper school. Previous, we had choose a school and then input your address. So that was the first choice. So now it's the proper choice, address first.
Yeah, we registered our kids today and we didn't have a choice. It's just wherever.
And that's what I was gonna bring up, but you know, everybody keeps reminding us, register your kids. If you're listening to the board meeting, there's the link online, returning student registration.
Right.
Because if there's a transfer student, but they register, will they still have like a seat at that school, or will they be kicked out? Or how does that work? People have been asking me. I said, I don't know.
So currently, number one, you need to register for your school that you're zoned to, right? That's first.
Okay.
From there, then you can still input and seek your intra-district transfer. And at that point, then the principals can look to accept.
Okay.
Many work with those that are there that they will grandfather through. However, as already been stated here just in the last few minutes, we are studying closely because we do know our numbers can get unbalanced. And it can get unbalanced in a few of our buildings. So it's something we're working very closely with. But again, at a certain point, we are having to tighten our belt, and our building principals are having this, they're the ones holding the line at many times and saying no. And then a lot of people begin to ask questions. The question simply is this for us. We are looking at numbers and trying to balance them out. We think that we can do a lot of this minus rezoning if we can just get a little better in our procedures as how we do it. Again, that may not make us perfect, but we can do it without a major rezoning.
Yeah.
It's mostly the enrollment process versus the rezoning process.
That's correct.
Now, because every single year, one question, do principals have, for their campuses, have a estimated number where they, like in their zone, let's say Memorial came up. Memorial knows that within its zone, it has an estimated number of students that may be coming in, because that number increases every year, especially with all the subdivisions, multifamily development going on, so that the people within that zone don't get blocked out. I know there was a couple of issues where they said, hey, I came in a little bit late at the window, but they said, well, they're at the capacity. So in other words, I don't want taxpayers that belong in that zone and belong at that school that just maybe didn't go at the beginning of the window to then not be able to get in.
You're correct.
Because they got overloaded too fast and we had too many transfers getting processed before. Like, is there like a window for people zoned there? And then is there a window for transfers after the fact? How does that work?
Currently, I don't believe we have a zone at that,
A number?
a number at that time. But I know we are stressing, and I'll follow what Mrs. Sustaita said, please register now. That really
Right.
does help inform us on numbers, because principals know then what their numbers are
Right.
before they start to accept large blocks of transfers.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's exactly why that, we may need to look at updating our rezoning because of the new subdivisions, new fourplex subdivisions that are coming up. I think, we don't want to get caught by surprise, and I think, just from what you said, I think that's what's going to end up happening here. I don't know what the time frame on those subdivisions are, but I have seen a lot of them come up here recently.
Yes.
We do have the forecasted study, Mr. Trevino, with that, and we are taking them into account with our planning on there. But a lot of that, going back to reiterating for them to register now, because it also affects staffing on that campus, where we don't have to shift staff around. So that's very critical also with principals that try to register their students right away to retain their staff. If not, we have to be very creative and fill those needs on other campuses.
And it wasn't to give, like, just so people know in the public, it's not that you don't want to give people options or choices or understand certain situations where transfer needs to happen. It's just you don't want to compromise instructional effectiveness of that campus.
That is
Because
correct.
at the end of the day, you overload it and you're going to see that drop.
That is correct.
I have one more comment on the technology upgrades, Doc.
Yes.
I know you guys are planning to spend around $2.3 million on that. If there's any way that we could look at potentially putting some money on connectivity for our kiddos that maybe don't have access to internet. Nowadays, internet's like a book, So I don't know if there's any way that we could look into that, but if there's any way we could help
We'll take a look at it.
our students with that issue who may have it.
I think we're
that'd be
doing that
great.
already,
Yeah, I
aren't we?
think you are.
They have hotspots, don't they?
Yeah, the county.
Awesome.
I was going to say, the commission,
City.
county is also putting fiber optic.
Oh, great.
But yeah, good observation.
All right,
Yeah,
awesome.
we'll take care of that too.
And then I'm very nervous about registration because I'm on the clock now to get my middle kid out of pull-ups before next year.
All right, are there any further questions, comments? If there are none, thank you, Mr. Rivera, Dr. Rivera, and all the staff for your work.
And the board too.
And the board
You're
also,
part of-
yes, thank you,
you're part of the
trustees,
team.
for all your work also. All right, we'll move on to item number 9, Lone Star Governance. And I did ask Mr. Martinez to just put a couple of slides on here for me. I've been watching other school districts on the videos that our coach gives us, and he said, hey, there's some ideas. So just to remind everybody what we're doing with Lone Star Governance, the motto here is student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change, starting with me. And so what does that mean? That it means that board members have to have knowledge about the data, the schools, the district. We need to know what's going on. We need to have knowledge in order to improve student outcomes. We also need to have the skills through our LSG coach, Dr. Ramos. He's teaching us how to monitor progress effectively, and we need to have the mindset and internalize I as a genesis of change. I know that you might hear Mr. Castillo sometimes say, well, this is an I statement, or this is my I statement, because through LSG we learned that our mindset is I am the genesis of change, and each of us has to have that mindset. What are my behaviors? What are my patterns? How can I be the genesis of change to help student outcomes improve? So this is why I started with this slide. And then we can go on to the next slide just to remind everybody, and they're on our website also, but these are our 5 goals on our LSG board. And every month, we're going to be focusing on 1 or 2. This month, we're going to be focusing on goal 1, which is the early years literacy. So you'll be seeing a lot of these goals coming up throughout the year. And this is how we monitor the progress that the kids are making. And then if you go on to the next slide, the last slide, is just about the board constraints and the superintendent constraints, which is just helps us to be aligned and keep the integrity and the trust as a team, and just helps us stay in our lane and know what we're doing as a team. So that is it, and I wanted to just give it over to Ms. Solano to begin with the data that we need to look at.
Yes. Hi, good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Rivera, and community. So as you said, Mrs. Sustaita, this evening, here in front, you have our board monitoring calendar, which got approved in the January board meeting. For the month of March, we will be reviewing our student outcome goals, Goal 1, GPMs 1.1 to 1.3, which specifically the leadership team decided to put kind of like the topic or what is it covering, the data, which is middle of the year map for reading K2. So the information is aligned directly to our HB3 Goal 1. Just as a reminder, the goals were approved this year with the assistance of Dr. Ramos. We met and revised our HB3 goals, and Goal 1 in particular looks at the percent of third grade students that score meets grade level or above on STAR reading will increase from a 49% in August 2023 to 60% by August 2028. Our goal is to make sure that at the meets grade level in third grade, we hit the 60% mark at the meets grade level. So how do we support this? So we determined as a team, along with the board, that we were going to establish or set GPMs 1.1 to 1.3, which is the grade levels that help support third grade, which is looking particularly kinder, first, and second grade. So in GPM 1.1, we are looking at the percent of kindergarten students in achieving the 60th percentile, which means on grade level with the assessment NWEA map will increase from 52% to 55% by May 2024. I do want to make sure that we understand that these goals or GPMs were just set really middle of the year. So we restructured our GPMs, right? Before we used to use iStation data. This is the first year that we are using map data. So last year's, what you see for 2022 in the table below in 2023, that was data that wasn't being reported. However, because we're using this assessment tool, this is now the diagnostic tool that we'll be using from now on. So right now, currently, we are reporting preliminary data because the GPM establishes or looks at the data for end of the year. For middle of the year, where you see the star, we are at 52% of the kindergarten students district-wide are on grade level. The target for 2024 is 55. We consider that to be on track just because we should be able to meet from the time we assess to the time we, middle of the year to the time we're finalizing end of the year, there is about an 8-week to 10-week difference in instruction. So in meeting with the elementary administration, with the CNI team, we considered that to be on track. The area of focus that you will see on each of the slides for kinder, first, and second are skills, particular skills that MAP has identified that need attention, okay? And then at the end, I will show a slide where we look at campus reporting and things that may address all grade levels as a whole. So this is our kinder. For first grade, GPMs 1.2. The percent of first grade students achieving the 60th percentile on MAP will increase from 32%, that was the 2023 data, to 38% by May 2024. So you see our middle of the year is at 32%, which is how the last year cohort ended. So again, with an 8 to 10 week difference in instruction, we forecasted that we would be at a 38% by the end of the year. Again, our goal is to increase by 2028 in the 5 years so that students are at meeting the target of 70, which would help support the 60 meets grade level for third grade. Okay, and the area of focus there was vocabulary for first grade. Then GPMs 1.3, the percent of second grade students achieving the 60th percentile on MAP will increase from 38%, that was the 2023 data, to 40% in May. Again, we did the distribution in 5 years. Our target at the end would be at the 70, just like first grade was. We are currently middle of the year, second grade at a 39. We consider that to be on track as we are 1% off from the end of the year target goal. And in the areas, or in grade level, second grade, we are looking at vocabulary being the skill of need. So the next slide summarizes kind of those first 3 slides that I just went over. The next slide is looking at individual campuses, right? So those campuses that have shaded green or green cells have already met the end of the year target, currently with their middle of the year diagnostic MAP assessment, right, or results. Those that have that shaded yellow cell are on track, are about 5 points away from meeting that end of the year target. Those with white cells are the campuses that we will be working and monitoring closely to make sure that they are still on track. Again, we feel confident that with the 8 to 10 week instructional difference, they will still meet the target. Now, one of the things that we looked at is what is working. We met with CNI, we met with the elementary administration. We know that in the lower grades, but in particularly, some campuses in kindergarten, to include first and second, but particularly in the early childhood grade level, SIPS, our phonics program, is very strong. So we want to make sure, and we're working with Mr. Amdahl and Julie Kelly to make sure that we replicate this in all early childhood classrooms. We know our blended learning classrooms do a phenomenal job of putting best practices in place, like setting individual goals for each student and lessons, right? We also know that aside from having this diagnostic assessment tool, MAP, Kinder also assesses Texas KIA by the state, that is state mandated assessment. We also have in-house Effective Schools Framework diagnostic tools that our CNI team helps roll out for campuses who are in need of additional assistance, and our RSSP support as well through T-Class.
What campuses are the Effective Schools Framework?
Okay, so we looked at, currently, I know that we have serviced Silva, right? We have also serviced Rico. I know our middle school is not here, but we have serviced Mary Hope as well. I know Cuellar has also received some assistance as well. I know our next campus was going to be Mario Ibarra, but we did have a transition in leadership, so we were holding off on that, and yes, I believe those are it at this point.
So we're getting, the
Yes.
campuses that need it
Yes,
are getting the
white
extra,
cells.
all right,
Yes.
awesome.
And mainly depending on their population
Yes.
and previous data. So what needs more attention? So we are looking, the first thing is tier 1 instruction, right? We understand that the percent require attention across all. So when we look at on-grade level instruction, fidelity to the adopted curriculum and making sure that we're using high-quality instructional materials. That is the first thing that it's our priority. PD support in the science of reading. We understand that the reading academies, right, just took place the last 3 years, and training, that shifted a whole lot of our understanding and our practices in the reading language arts classrooms. Data-driven instruction, we now are using a new tool, right? Again, like I stated, when I started, we were using iStation. We are now using the MAP diagnostic reports. So we will continue to increase effectiveness in PD for that. Individualized goal setting, we see it working in our blended learning classrooms, something that we will expand also into the middle schools. Testing administration procedures. How is one grade level testing or one classroom to the next, right? Does that look different? Does it? And if it does, how do we fix that to align the validity and reliability of scores? PLC support and training. We know that the PLC is the heart of planning, Domain 1 and T-test, which then translates to Domain 2 instructional delivery. And T-test instructional rounds, which again, because of TIA, we have refined this process. Our administrators, our CNI teams are in the classrooms giving coaching and feedback support to teachers.
I had a question.
Yes.
I know you talked about the white cells, and you were confident that by the Eagle Eye that they were going to hit their
Yes.
targets. Is that because you saw that a lot of these kids didn't meet the GPM because their RIT score was just like maybe 1 or 2 points off? Because I know that sometimes if they don't hit that 60th percentile marker,
Right.
they may have increased. They may have increased dramatically, 12, 13 points, but they may have been off by 1.
Yes, that's,
Is that why?
Mr. De Los Santos, and it was shared, right, when we had our discussions, that PD, understanding just the MAP reports, how do we
Right.
use it to transfer back into, how do I plan for this, right? What I use this data for is very powerful. So we're working with MAP to provide that PD to our teachers.
Okay, great.
Prescriptive planning,
Right.
yes.
Nice.
So if we continue, I will now move on to the CPMs, right? Superintendent Constraint Progress Measures, which is the second part of our presentation, and it's on the Panorama Survey. So that addresses the constraint, the superintendent shall not allow a low level of campus culture and climate. Our first CPM, CPM 3.1, if we go to the next slide, looks at the percentage of students who respond favorably to emotional regulation on the Student Panorama Survey will increase from 44%, and that was last school year, 2023, in winter 2023, to 45 in winter 2024. So our panorama survey gets conducted early in the spring, February. So it just got conducted and closed right before spring break, March 8th, and we hit a target goal of a 44. That was our outcome. Our target was a 45. We were 1% below the target. I put a snippet of the questions that students get asked, right, just for your reference. And also areas of focus in collaboration with Dr. Sid and the counseling department, student support services, provision of targeted multi-tiered system of supports on emotional regulation in the different campuses, showing a decrease in students who answered favorably in this area. Also, an integration of emotional regulation techniques in the classroom, instruction, academics, and extracurricular activities to be embedded, and an immersion of emotional awareness and mindfulness in daily practice as part of the school culture. So this continues to be an area that she also addresses in her monthly meetings with the counselors to, more than anything, strategize how do we take it back, not only our counselors, but to our teachers and our administration too.
Well,
Yes.
that was going to be my question. So are we able to see maybe responses that we want to target?
Most definitely, we can share those with you.
Well, no, not necessarily. You don't have to share them with us, but I just want to make sure that our counseling department, our LPCs have them, just in case, maybe we have a student who is using this to say they need some type of help.
Yes. So,
I was going to say, I spoke with Dr. Sid, and she gave me access to the panorama survey. She can give us credentials and login information, and you can actually go in there and look at the responses by grade, by campus, by, there's so many different demographics. It's such an awesome system that we have with the panorama survey, so she can get us the credentials and the logins. We can log in and look at that.
But we're able to pinpoint a kid who may need help.
sir.
No, not us.
No, I don't. I'm
Not a
not talking about
kid,
the board. I'm
but-
talking about admin.
Oh, them.
Right,
If
we're
you need
able
to
to
send
see any
supports to a specific kid.
responses, we're able to see the percent favorably per question, and what is the target question that we need, or needs priority or our attention to.
But to specific kids or just specific areas?
No, specific areas, by
Okay,
topic.
so there's no way to, like, just,
Pinpoint.
yeah, and be able to provide support maybe for somebody who's not asking?
Dr. Sid, would you be able to answer that question? Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Rivera, and members of the board. Yes, to answer
All
your
right,
question, the answer, yes, because we do have some kids one or two kids in the past who made an outcry.
Yeah.
And since it's a third party, I'm not able to pull that information, but I do contact them, and they're able to give us the student ID and students, and we were able to intervene.
Great, that's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to know.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. The next slide, which is 3.2, addresses CPM 3.2, looks at now the percentage of teachers and staff who respond favorably to school climate on the panorama survey. That last spring showed to be at a 54%. Our target for this spring of 2024, and we call it winter, or the panorama survey calls it winter, right, and it's our spring, was going to be at 57. We were actually at fall 2023. I don't know if you can see. We were at a 57. The outcome ended up to be a 56, 1% short of. Those are sample questions. Again, areas of focus that we are going to be working on with administration and our student support service department. It's the integration of Panorama Playbook targeting improvement of school climate during the monthly meetings or PLC days. Foster principal leadership to support teacher efficacy and trusting relationships using a tiered intervention approach. Foster collaborative relationships and collectively responsibility among teachers during department and grade level meetings, and mentorship initiative to support teachers.
Ms. Solano, if I can stop you there.
Yes.
Dr. Rivera sent us an email of each campus's school climate, right? And the elementaries they're pretty good. The kids are happy, they're little. When you get to the middle school and the high school is when you see that big drop of the school climate and just the outcries. So that's my concern, because we don't have that data here. We have it on our email, and I have it on the panorama survey, which they'll have hopefully soon also if they get their credentials to log in. But it concerns me that some of those schools are, they're very low on the campus climate. So how can we address that?
We're talking, Ms. Ustaita, specifically for students?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so we are having individual meetings. Yesterday, we met as a principal group leadership team just to help first look at free responses, look at percentages, right? Favorable or not favorable percentages to see what's already in place at that campus and what needs to be tweaked as well.
Okay.
Right? Because the administrator would probably know best what's already in place at that campus.
Yeah.
And we look at the campuses who are already in green, right, in those green cells, and we look at the campuses who, need assistance getting to the green.
Such an interesting time in life, though. Like, I mean, just thinking back to myself when I was in junior high, I think I just would have answered negatively even if I didn't feel it, you know?
Yeah.
If you have a teenager at home.
Yeah.
And if you look at the questions on the Panorama survey, it's like, do you feel like you belong? Do you feel like, just very emotional, social, emotional kind of questions. That's what the Panorama's
Right.
about. And that's what my concern is. I know it's the age. I know that a lot of kids, I know how it is. I'm a mother of
Right.
teenagers. But just something to
Most
address, for
definitely.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes our portion of the LSG presentations.
Awesome.
Okay. I do have some questions just because, we're going through coaching and they want us to do the effective questions and
Correct.
the progress. So if I look back over at the kindergarten, or actually at all, kinder first and second, and we look at the tables of the demographic group progress and we look at special education, from kinder to first to second, there's a big gap between the target and what we're currently at. What can we do to address this issue?
So one of the things, Ms. Ustaita, that we looked at as we were setting GPMs probably mid-fall, right, to get them approved by mid-fall, and we changed the assessment tool, the diagnostic tool, to is first provide more or intensive PD on the diagnostic tool, how to read reports and how to take those reports, interpret, and align them to instructional practices daily, right? Second of all, one of the things, so really this year kind of serves as a baseline, the targets we set. If we feel that by the end of the year, our targets were not met or were met, right, we would then come forward with recommendations. However, we do see in the early childhood, especially in second grade, we do see an increase in referrals to special education, right? Things to consider, right? By then, most students have been in school 3 years. So those are things that we're talking with special education that we are looking. This is something that probably is a concern statewide, right? Our special education population
Right.
is increasing, particularly because of the dyslexia policies and rules in place now. So it is something that we are monitoring.
So the diagnostic tool.
Yes, definitely.
Referrals, do you mean disciplinary referrals? or-
No. For special education, child's fine. Yes.
Okay. And then my other question, Ms. Solano, I know that I kind of talked to you already about it, but the testing, you said, one of the slides said that areas to work on, and one of them was the testing administration procedures. This needs more attention, so how are we going to address this?
Most definitely. So as you all know, we use MAP also for TIA, right?
Right.
So what we're doing is just like you test STAR and you have test administration procedures, whether it's proctor, whether it's hallway monitors, whether it's a time limit or such, whatever it may be, training, we are doing the same thing for MAP, and especially because now MAP is a part of our HB3 goals, is part of our TIA framework as well. So, and all those, we're trying to align all accountability systems to one practice, right? So, yes, it will mimic that.
And it's just kind of to prepare kids too.
Yes,
They actually do get the
most
preparation,
definitely.
They go online and they take the test and there's
Yes, sir.
techniques and the structure.
So I know they use a lot of iStation also, right? They do iStation and the MAP. What are we using iStation for, other than the teachers are using iStation to guide them in their daily lessons with the kids?
Right.
And MAP is being used for TIA?
Right. So one of the things we just met yesterday with administration to align our HQIMs for next year, to start next year, so that we can all have one adopted curriculum and such. iStation is actually, we are going to not renew iStation just because of the reviews with Texas Education Agency, but that was used to mainly determine early reading indicators that is reported to the state.
Okay. So we will not be renewed next year?
Right.
Wow, okay. I remember being a teacher and using it still, so I'm like, wow,
Yes.
they're not going to use it anymore. Okay.
HQIM, high-quality instructional material?
Materials, definitely.
Just checking.
Moving in that direction.
All right.
Well, quick question, for the testing, Very basic stuff, but as far as headphone sets, whatnot, because these have headphone sets that are implemented with them. So
Yes.
all of our campuses have up-to-date.
Most
new-
definitely.
Yeah, because those are very important, because kids need to listen to the.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Do some grade levels use Chromebooks and some levels use iPads? Because I know there's a difference in testing, you know, sometimes iPads are easier, Chromebooks are a little harder.
For the early childhood, it's usually iPads, but most have Chromebooks. Most of our
have
students use
Chromebooks.
Chromebooks.
So
But our
like kinder
babies-
uses iPads and then first and second uses Chromebooks?
Yes, Scott Amdahl is the one that uses or directs all of our technology for that, yes.
Okay, and since we're using this data as a predictor,
Right.
so how they're gonna do in third grade, that's the whole point of, why are we looking at kinder first and second? Well, because we wanna predict how these kids are gonna do in third grade once you take the STAR test. The STAR test is now on a computer also, right? It's not pen and paper anymore, or pencil and paper. So
Yes.
the kids will be more comfortable and familiar by the time they get to third with the STAR test.
Yes, that's our goal, aligning all frameworks, right? Yes.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you. This is our first report, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all did a great job, so thank you for
Thank you.
setting the
Yes,
bar
you
high.
did. Those visuals are really good in the line graphs, and it's really good. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right. So we are done with the portion of the monitoring calendar. We're done with the portion of student outcome goals. We're done with the constraints. So now we move on to the leadership evaluations, which is the Board of Trustees self-evaluation. Now, this is something that we have to do every 3 months or quarterly for LSG. And the way this works, and we're brand new to this, we've never done this before either. So the way this works is that us as a board, we should have it there in your Lone Star Governance manual, the visions and goals, the self-evaluation, and it's up there, it's on your screen also. So the last time that we took this with our coach, he was here about in November, I think, that we took this with him, and he kind of walked us through it. And we read through each one, and we scored ourselves based on what we thought together we were at and what category we were at. And the reason why we do this is just, of course, to self-evaluate ourselves, but there's actually also a leaderboard on TEA's website of the districts who are doing this and who's in the leaderboard, so it'd be awesome if Weslaco could be on the leaderboard too, just FYI. But how are we gonna do that? We're gonna evaluate ourselves. So there's 9 pages of this, and we're gonna try to get through them as quick as we can. So I'll read each one, and then you guys can tell me yes, no, what do you think? I'll start with vision and goals. Number 1, the board has adopted student outcome goals. Does not meet focus. The board does not meet focus if any of the following are true. The board does not have a vision. Yes, we do. We all agree?
Yes.
The board does not have goals.
We do.
We do. The board does not consistently distinguish between inputs, outputs, and outcomes. Yes, we do, right? So we'll move on to number 1, preparing to focus. The board is preparing to focus if the following is true. The board has adopted a vision statement. Yes. Own the vision development process while working collaboratively with the superintendent? Yes. Adopted 3 to 5 goals? Yes, we just showed them on the screen. Own the goal development process while working collaboratively with the superintendent? Yes, we all agree. So we get to 4 points, approaches focus. The board approaches focus if all prior conditions in the following are true. All goals are specific, quantifiable student outcome goals and include a population, the SMART goals. Do we all agree that we have them?
Yes.
Because we worked on it with our coach, so yes, we get 4 points. Let's move on to 12. This is where we were at last quarter. All board members and the superintendent agree that the student outcome goals will challenge the organization, require adult behavior change, are influenceable by the superintendent, and are the superintendent's first priority for resource allocation.
Yes.
Yes. The board relied on root cause analysis, comprehensive student needs assessments, similar research-based tools. Did we do all that?
Yeah.
Yes. So move on to the last one, masters, number 15 points. All board members and the superintendent have committed to the vision and student outcome goals to memory.
We get in there.
Yeah, I don't think we have those percentages memorized.
Right.
We know that where we have to be,
I think
but
they're all 60%. I don't know what the beginnings are.
no, they're not. It's like 49 to 53%.
Oh, never mind. Then we don't meet it.
We don't meet it.
I know that.
Okay, so we get 12 points for this quarter. So I'll write that down. So now we know what we need to do next time, memorize those numbers. We'll move on to vision and goals 2. The board has adopted goal progress measures aligned to each student outcome goal. Last time, the last quarter, we got 12 points, so I'll just start there, where it meets focus. So all board members and the superintendent agree that the GPMs will challenge the organization?
Yes.
Yes. Require adult behavior change?
Yes.
Yes. Are influenceable by the superintendent and are predictive of their respective student outcome goals?
Yes.
Yes, so let's go to 15. All board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the GPMs through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members?
I mean, we put out a video.
I was about to say that. We put out a video, we came together, we've been talking to people out in the community as we see them. What do you guys think? Do you think?
I would say yes. 15.
And we'll continue. I was even thinking like at Al Fresco, you know how Mr. George Lopez goes out there and he's trying to recruit people, and we could go out there and I made some flyers and go and give them out and just talk to the community out there at Al Fresco or anywhere we can see them.
Or at the recruitment deal, we could give the flyer of our.
I'm going tomorrow to Mr.
Well,
Guy.
I wouldn't go
Anybody
to
wants to
masters
go?
then. I don't think we're there yet, right? No, we're not there yet for masters.
We're not there yet. So we want to work a little bit harder for that.
We can do better.
12.
13?
Around
12.
there.
12.5.
Because remember, we also have to speak to students, because a lot of times.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't talked to students at
That
all.
is very important.
So how can we do that? How can we go in and talk to students?
Could create a committee, create a committee and have them come in, have community members, business owners, have students come in, staff, et cetera, talk to them, present the, kind of like a workshop,
Well,
but a
actually,
committee meeting.
That's a good point. You know, I think you can have at one time I know Dr. Rivera had a superintendent advisory committee.
Yeah, advisory committee.
Each campus will provide, say, 4 students. So then
Yeah.
that way you can talk to them and ask questions, because they can tell you
Yeah.
what's occurring at the campuses.
And we actually just approved on the consent agenda, the policy, the TASB policy,
Yes.
which it talks about the student advisory committee. And
Correct.
So,
Yes.
I mean, that's something that we can look into.
but we have to do it, not admin, because they come in here and they talk to
we
kids. It
just
has
have
to be the
No,
board.
the superintendent.
We just have to ask Dr. Rivera if it's possible to do that, and it could be at a campus, and the
Yeah.
other students will be bused there, or it could be here at central office. You know, there's so many things.
Well, you know what, you can also be put on the agenda, couldn't you be put on the agenda like shack meetings and things of that nature that are already in the district? There's already committees where they invite business leaders, and like I said,
Yeah.
all those components, you could just step in as a board member, be put on the agenda and
Yeah.
present the information and get feedback.
But it has to be us. That's very important.
Right,
We
yes,
can't-
board members.
I was
Yeah.
what about before our next board workshop, maybe we come a little bit early and invite kiddos and whoever is invited
a good
wants to
idea.
come, and we all do it together.
So we asked the principals to ask parents to bring in a couple of students.
If that's possible. They're looking at us like, we can work on that, and maybe we can get them
We can work on that.
to come and like a little town hall, but here in the boardroom with the kids.
Right.
And the parents too. We need the community also, the parents and the kids. If anybody wants to volunteer and just come for 30 minutes before the board meeting. And we can do that.
Do you think it's possible? You guys are nodding.
It's possible.
Oh, yeah, there's advisory committees throughout for federal programs and whatnot, they already have them set up and whatnot, you can tap into.
Can we do that for, I don't know if it's enough time, but maybe we have our next board workshop that we're planning on doing, maybe we could do it before then.
We can do that.
All right.
And maybe they'll tell us what they think we need to put our money into.
Oh, yeah, the kids will tell us. Yeah, when my niece says, can you get us chips for lunch? That's not what I do. All right, moving on. That's 12 points. So vision and goals. Number 3, the board has adopted constraints. Last time, we were at 9 points. So let's see if we meet masters at 10. This says the board masters focus if all prior conditions and the following are true. The board, in collaboration with the superintendent, has adopted one or more theories of action to drive overall strategic direction. And yes, we do have a theory of action that we did. So we can check on that. All board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the constraints through involvement and communication with students, staff, and community members.
Same thing, 9.
We're not there yet, right?
No.
Yeah.
Same as the other one?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll keep it at 9. And we know what we need to do once we meet with the kids and the community. And then we move on to vision and goals 4. Last time, we were at 0 here. So let's see if we got to 1. The board is preparing to focus if the following is true. The board has adopted CPMs for each superintendent constraint.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. The superintendent owned the CPM development process while working collaboratively with the board. Yes, he did. The status of each adopted CPM is able to be updated multiple times during each school year. Yes, it is, just like the panorama. 2 points. The board has adopted no more than 3 CPMs for each superintendent constraint. Yeah, we haven't adopted more than 3. It's just 1, right, like the panorama.
Do we have more than that?
No, he submitted.
Some have 1. No more than, yeah, we don't have more than 3. So yes, we're good with that. All CPMs include a 1 to 5 year deadline of a month and year.
Yeah.
Yes. A baseline of a month and year, and annual targets. And yes, we have those on the CPM. So we're good. Let's go to number 4. 4 points. All board members and the superintendent agreed that the superintendent CPMs will challenge the organization to focus on the vision.
Yeah.
Yes. Will challenge the organization to uphold community values.
Yeah.
Yes. Are all predictive of their respective constraint.
Yes.
Yes. Influenceable by the superintendent. Yes, they are. Got 4 points. Let's go on to masters. All board members and the superintendent agree there is broad community ownership of the superintendent CPMs. Same thing as the other one. What do you think? We'll hold off on that one until we meet with the community more. So we get 4 points for this one. Then we move on to progress and accountability. Last time we got 0 points for all of these. So we'll go to number 1. The superintendent owns monitoring calendar development, working with the board to adopt a calendar that monitors each student outcome goal at least 4 times per year. Yes, because I made sure we did these. No more than 2 student outcome goals per month. Yes, we made sure we did that. Each constraint at least once per year. Yes. The calendar spans the length of the student outcome goals. Yes. The board tracks its time in public meetings, identifying each minute according to the time use tracker. We are not there yet. We're supposed to get coached with Dr. Ramos and to use the time use tracker, but we're not there yet. So we're still at 0.
You're not tracking us, Jane.
That's the secretary.
Just kidding. All right, Drew.
We're not there yet. We'll get there. It's okay. Then we move on to progress and accountability 2. We were at 0, so let's see if we get 1 point. The board has performed a self-evaluation within the previous 12 months. Yes. Performed a superintendent annual evaluation. No, we haven't, but that's going to come up in April, right? Dr. DeVetta?
And that's why we're doing this, to evaluate ourselves before we evaluate the superintendent.
Right.
To be fair to him.
To be fair to Dr. DeVetta, we're evaluating ourselves and then him. So we're still at 0 points here. We did not get to 1. We're getting there. Systems and processes. The board operates in a way that allows the superintendent to accomplish the vision. We were at 0 points here, so let me start at 1. The board receives and votes to accept monitoring reports that include the student outcome goal and GPM or constraint and CPM being monitored. Yes, we received those reports, like today. The current status of the student outcome goal and GPM or constraint and CPM.
Well, we actually received them last week.
Yeah, we're ahead of time, so we're doing great.
So we passed do not meet focus. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's one of
we
them.
passed it. And the CPMs, and also number 2 is good. The superintendent's interpretation of performance and supporting information. Yeah, so we get 1 point here. So let's go on to 4 points. All consent eligible items were placed on the consent agenda at more than 75% of the items are voted on using the consent agenda.
Yes.
Well, today we have, and we have for the other months. We've been using the consent agenda a lot more now, and if people, that's why we have board book now online. If some people say, but I didn't hear what you guys were saying. Well, it's online. All the information that I get is what you get also on those PDFs online. And so the consent agenda is what we've already kind of looked through and said, we're okay with this. So we don't spend so much time talking about those things. We've already talked about them before.
And right now, trustees call the superintendent with any individual questions, and we're moving to a system to where we could put those questions on our board book as well.
Right. So we're good with that. The adopted monitoring calendar has not been modified during the past quarter.
Nope.
No, because we just got it, so it's good. So we get 4 points, yay. So 12, board authorized public meetings in the last quarter did not exceed an average of 4 meetings per month? No. An average of 3 hours per meeting?
No, I don't think so. We've been doing an hour and a half, 2 hours, no?
I've been breezing through them pretty quick, I think. And
We do go home before midnight.
we do go home. Before we wouldn't, but now we go home early. An average of 5 other topics per meeting?
I don't know what that is.
Like in discussion and action and possible action?
We haven't had more than 5.
We've been pretty good, right? Okay. So we're good there. The board has reviewed its existing local policies. Yes, we just approved the revisions today. And only adopted local policies pertaining to board work. Yeah? What do you guys think? We're good there?
I don't know what they mean by that. I mean, you know what I mean?
So then we're doing
Well, I mean,
it.
I think we are, in my opinion, but I don't know what they mean.
Well,
by that.
local policies, we have adopted local policies that pertain to us, to the board work. We haven't changed anything other than, the local policies are based on our work, not on anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good with that. So 15 points, board authorized public meetings in the last quarter did not exceed an average of 3 meetings per month. No, we did not. An average of 2 hours per meeting.
That I don't know. I think we're close, but I
You
don't
know,
know.
no, today we started at about, what was it?
5:15.
No, not the workshop, when the kids came in. 6, and it's 7:26 right now, and this has kind of been the same standard we've had for the last couple of months. So I think we've been good with about 2 hours.
About around there.
Yeah, I think we're good. An average of 3 other topics per meeting.
I don't
I
think.
think we're at about 3 to 4 topics with the construction and the bond and all these things. So I don't think we have 15 yet. I think we're at 12.
Okay.
Do you guys agree with that? Okay, so then I'll put 12. 12. And the last one, I think it's, no, 2 more. Advocacy and engagement. The board promotes the vision. We were at 0 before, so let me start at 1. The board has a 2-way communication system in place where the board members at least once per year listen for and discuss the vision and values of their students, and listen for, discuss the vision. No, we're about to do that.
Well, we
If
just
have-
discussed how to do it.
Yes.
So we have it, we just haven't done it. It's not saying,
Yeah,
have
so
you
we're
done
still
it?
at 0 then, because we
You
haven't
think
done
so?
it yet.
Well, I mean, it says
Oh, well, it says if we have a 2-way communication system.
in place where the board members at least once per year do
But
that.
it's not really in place, it's kind of verbal, like, hey, can you do this? I mean, do you think it's in place? Like, if we have a calendar set, and okay, this day they're gonna come, every
Oh, you're on section 3, right? Approaches, focus?
No.
1, preparing to focus. I think, because
All right.
I don't think we're there yet. We just said that we were gonna do it, but that,
About doing it.
yeah, it's about doing it, so let's stay at 0. And the last one. Synergy and teamwork. The board works collaboratively and with the superintendent to lead toward the vision. We had 0 last time, so let's start at number 1. The board affirms that at least every 2 years it has reviewed all policies governing board operating procedures. Mr. Aguilar, we just started with that this year, right?
We started with Cassidy, reviewing the policies and procedures.
Yeah,
So that's a pattern that's been established already.
yeah. So can we check that off? Because it's going to be at least every 2 years.
Right.
Let me move on.
And the work.
Affirms that all members have signed the ethics and conflict of interest statement in the past 12 months? Yes, we have, right? All of us have. Agrees that a committee's role is to advise the board, not to advise the staff?
Yes.
Yes. Agrees that a board officer's role is to advise the board, not to advise the staff?
Yes.
Yes. Maintained a quorum throughout all regularly scheduled meetings for the past 3 months? Yes, we always have a quorum. So let's move on to number 3, or 3 points. The board agrees that every member is responsible for the outcomes of all students, not just students in the region of the school system. Yes. Maintained an average attendance of 70% or higher throughout all regularly scheduled board meetings over the previous 3 months?
Yes.
Yeah, we've pretty much all been here. Has set the expectation that information provided to one board member is provided to all board members? Yes, we do that. We're good at sharing information. So 9, we'll move on to the 9 points. The board maintained an average attendance of 80% or higher? I think so, right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agrees that all members have adhered to all policies governing board operating procedures? Yeah.
I think so.
Agrees that every member has completed all statutorily required trainings? Yes, we get that from our secretary. Rather than the superintendent, led the completion of Lone Star governance tasks? Which is, I mean, like the board monitoring calendar, I know I worked on that.
Yeah, I think,
And
We've been moving
the
it's all been board.
the video, you guys helped us, but we were like the ones on the video.
I drafted the script. I did.
Yay, thank you, that was quick. What do you guys think about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move on to 10 points. All board members and the superintendent have completed the Lone Star Government's workshop. You didn't get credit for it, right? Because you left
No, I didn't get credit for the, I
for
did,
the whole, because you left the second day, remember, early?
but it was that one deal, the, what's it called? The academic part? It wasn't Lone Star Governance, it's the
It was
training.
the workshop when we're talking about the GPMs.
No, I was there for that. What I missed was the data part. What do they call it? That Region 1 does, the data part, that we.
I remember Dr. Ramos said, you're not gonna get the credit
Right.
because,
Fine.
because Ben left early.
Yeah, he had to sit in with somebody else. He has to
Yeah, I was
sit in
like,
with somebody
oh, come on, Ben, but I get it. If Families first, always, I get it.
I'll do it.
So you have to do it for us to get 10
Just
points.
right there, Trustee Castillo.
Trustee Castillo.
I'll do it.
It's okay, 9 points, we'll work on it. All right, so I'm gonna tally these up really quickly so we can sign if they gave it to me. And then we can vote that we agree. You guys didn't give me a new tally sheet.
You can have this one. It's the same as yours. Yeah.
She has one.
If somebody has a calculator,
Yeah, I circled.
you circle? Okay. Can you add them for me?
Oh, yeah.
We have to do this or else we don't get credit. We have to tally it right now and vote on it.
We're gonna go over the time.
So we'll do it as quickly as we can.
I'm not good at math, so you know.
Okay, the calculator.
12,
12 plus 12
24.
plus 9. You got it?
plus 9, plus what?
Plus 4
Okay,
plus
You
0
have anything consent?
okay.
plus 0
No, how does he?
No,
System
I
processes.
had gone through it for you.
Yeah.
plus 12
Okay,
plus 0 plus 9.
is that it?
Yeah,
58.
58. Okay, so the last quarter, we were at 33 points. This quarter, we're at 58 points. So we're progressing, but we can do better. So if everybody can, I don't have a clean sheet. Can I'm just for now going to use the old one because it's not here.
We can get you one.
Okay.
Get you an update.
Maybe I can just come back to this before we end the meeting?
Yeah, okay.
So we can vote on it and then. All right, so that's the end of the board self-evaluation and we do that quarterly every 3 months. Thank you to the trustees and thank you for everybody for being patient out there and listening to that. We'll move on to item 10, consent items. Oh, we haven't even done it. We've all had time to look through this, so if anybody has anything to pull out, I'll ask you one by one. And I'll start with trustee Rodriguez. Any items?
I have none.
Okay, trustee Cuellar?
I have none.
Trustee Castillo?
Just one, 10J. Sorry.
Dr. Ramos.
It's
10
policy, it's all
I'm just joking. I'm joking. So 10J, Human Resources Department. Okay. Mr. Trevino, any items?
I have 10J1, or what is it?
Yeah, that's the one I pulled too.
Yes. Mr. Castillo pulled that one out. And just to remind us, whenever we want to pull something out, we should have time to ask Dr. Rivera, just in case that you forget. Mr. Nieto, any items to pull out?
None.
Mr. De Los Santos?
None.
Okay. So before we move on to this item that was pulled out, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve consent agenda except for item 10J. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote to approve consent consent agenda except for item 10J. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
Motion passes. So we'll move on to item 10J, Human Resources Department. This is the approval of additions, revisions, deletions of local policies resulting from the policy review session conducted on January 24 to 25 with drafts prepared by TASB Policy Service. Mr. Castillo?
Yes, on CH local, I think the draft, and I'm going by memory, I think the draft had an increase of the superintendent's personal authority from 50 to 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
My only question on that is that enough, Doc, to be like efficient? I mean, I see districts at 150 or 200. You're okay with 100? Okay. And then on BE local, on agenda preparation, I believe there was some language in there that was saying that the board president and the superintendent needed to have the agenda, or submit agenda languages, agenda items 5 days prior to the meeting. I mean, do we want to put that restriction on the soup and the board president? I get us and everybody else, but on the soup and the board president, that's kind of a.
Sometimes things happen.
Yeah, it's added at
I
the last
looked for
moment.
that policy, but it wasn't on the consent, because that caught my eye the first time for the revisions, but then I looked at this agenda and it wasn't there to approve that one. Was it going to be approved also?
Because we've done that before in the past, we've added items, but
Yes.
right before it gets released, the agenda.
Yeah.
But it's
But it
been
wasn't
in
in
our
here.
policy already.
Yeah, I mean, in the policy, the way it's written now,
Right.
the prohibition on adding items is on us, right? But not on the soup and the board president,
Right.
just in case they need to add something.
Correct.
But there's the draft that was submitted to us, and I don't know if it's in here or not.
So.
No, it's not. That's what I'm
If I
saying.
may interrupt, I do apologize, Board President Sustaita and Dr. Rivera. Yes, so basically, after we had received a question on it, we studied it, we have pulled it. It is no
Yeah, it's
longer
not on
part
here.
of this motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes, I was looking for it because that caught my eye, but it wasn't in here, so we're not approving that.
That's
So-
correct.
Yeah, it's on,
All right. Mr. Trevino, did you want to?
Yes, on page 618, on the BED local, for the public comments. And I don't know, Mr. Castillo, if you're more familiar with other meetings, is this customary? I know we want to reduce it from 5 minutes to 3 minutes per meeting, per speaker, I guess. Per speaker. What is around the state of Texas? What is the time frame? 3? Okay, that's all I want to know. Good.
All right. And those are the kind of questions that we can ask Dr. Rivera. We just don't have time sometimes, or we forget, or like, oh, you know what, it just came to my mind. But those are the kind of questions that we ask him through email, so we don't have to pull the consent agenda items out, but it's okay. All right, so are you guys gonna, is everybody okay with approving, well, I need a motion.
motion to approve?
Second.
All right, now we'll go ahead and take it to a vote to approve item 10J, Human Resources Department item. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to item 11. 11A, Business and Finance Department. This is our discussion and possible action items. And it's 11A1, the Finance Department. Discussion and possible action of the approval of the bond underwriters for bond issuance, Series 2024. Dr. Rivera?
You have the recommendation by the advisors. You have the senior manager, Frost Bank, the co-managers, BOQK, Samco, and Nicholas and Company, and SWBC Investment Services.
So move to approve.
Second? Coach Gordon.
Okay, so motion by Mr. Nieto and a second by Coach Cuellar to approve the item as listed recommended by Dr. Rivera. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to item 11A2, Purchasing Department. Discussion and possible action for the board to rank the firms that submitted qualification statements for delinquent tax attorney services, RFQ number 24-02-23. Dr. Rivera?
There were two proposals, Linebarger and Purdue, and the county didn't submit one, so we have two proposals, and you have all the backup that I given you, so it's your call to make on which of these two.
Are you gonna have us rank them, or?
We don't have to rank them since there are two. Nobody
It's
would rank
just
when
two.
there's 5 or more. When it's 2, it's just
Somebody can make a motion.
2. I'll make a motion to approve Purdue, Brandon, and Fielder for the next 2 years.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion or questions or comments?
I don't.
I believe I requested for a workshop on this matter. I don't know why we're ranking this or why we're jumping to this. I know, everybody knows there's only 2. And all I requested was a presentation.
When was that?
I requested one in January or December, the last time it was brought up.
And I think Dr. Rivera had sent us some information, quite a bit of information.
On the packet.
On the packet? On
But
both.
but I would still have liked a presentation, a workshop, so that not only a presentation would have been, instead of just appointing somebody.
I don't think that we could do it without a ranking. It was an RFQ. Even though there's only two, if it was just one, then you don't have to rank. But there's two.
The way
I
it's
think we
worded?
at least need to have a ranking. Yeah, yeah.
Because then it would just be a pick with who you
So
want, different, worded
We
differently.
can be just transparent and say, I rank this firm one, or this,
Well, it has to be based on the matrix that was in the RFQ. So I don't know if we have that or not, like if we're prepared to rank them.
well, right now we have a motion on the floor. So
You tell me what to do,
We have to vote on that
because-
first before we can continue, because we do have a motion already. Okay.
Even though it says to rank and we did it?
I mean, you have a
You guys are
motion.
legal, you tell me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, in the past, we've had these meetings and discussions, and it's been at the discretion of the board, where we've had rankings on the list before, and we've deviated from that in the previous years and just said, hey, we're gonna go straight for a vote. We've done that in the past, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was, yeah, you know.
legal, and please advise.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the motion.
I'm gonna pull Robert's Rules of Order on y'all and make a substitute motion because I think we need to rank them. And I don't want to vote against somebody or one of these firms just because legally we need to rank them. I like Purdue, I like Larnberger, and I'm gonna vote no on this motion in second because I think we need to rank them and I want to stay legal. So I'm gonna make a substitute motion to request that we have a ranking sheet based on the matrix that was sent in the RFQ, so we could rank them and then make a selection.
Okay, so when you make a substitute motion, what do we do?
Then if somebody seconds me, then the board has to vote on that substitute motion, and if that substitute motion passes, it becomes the main motion, and then we have to vote on that main motion.
Okay, do I have a second for the substitute motion? I'll second you, so somebody else, because I don't want to get in trouble and not rank them correctly or whatever we have to do. So I'll do the second? And then now what?
You vote on, and so you're voting, the board is voting to make the substitute motion the main motion. So you're not voting to do it yet, you're
Okay.
just making it to move it to the main motion. And so, guys, I do this for a living. I
no.
am advising you that we need to rank them.
Yeah, that's, okay,
I'm not
so,
your lawyer, but I'm just,
okay, so the substitute motion is to table this until we get the ranking?
no, to just rank them. I don't want to table
Oh,
them, I
okay,
just want to
but we
rank
don't have
them.
we don't have a ranking.
I'm trying to supersede the
sheet.
motion on the table.
Are we able to rank tonight? Is that what we're trying to figure out?
Yeah,
would like
we're
to rank
supposed to rank
tonight.
them,
Yeah. I mean, that's
but how
fine
are
with
we
me.
gonna rank them if we don't?
Well, in the packet, there was only a few items listed as far as size, years of experience, et cetera. It was like 4 or 5 categories.
put a
in
matrix
the
in there?
document.
Yes, he's,
Can we do this? Give him time to create a ranking sheet and then we move it? Like if this is the way we
Yeah,
gotta
can we move
go.
the item?
Okay, after executive, we come.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, if it's a legal thing.
Yes, let's do that.
I mean, we're ready.
So from now on, Mr. Castillo, from now on, whenever we have a situation like that, we're gonna have to rank them? Because in the past, we never have. We've
Right.
always had the motion, and then
Every time I see you, you've ranked though.
Yeah.
Are
If
you
it
rank-
says rank on the item, we would rank
Yeah,
them.
you
There's a
rank
couple of
lawyer.
situations in the past where people just said, hey, I'm gonna make a motion, I'm gonna avoid we don't have to do the ranking, because it was at the discretion of the board, and then they went with.
But so it's the way it's worded.
Well, let's move
But I don't-
forward so we
but I-
can
but-
continue.
Ustedes saben, you know.
In light of all this, are we gonna get in the habit of ranking everything, because my thing has always been, nobody knows what's going on better than our administration.
Right.
And in general, when they recommend something to us, the support's gonna be there because of the trust. So here we go to ranking, and I'm very uncomfortable with this because I see a little something and then, you have to do a lot of background to go with what's going on, and Dr. Rivera, you've given us information about the job that our current attorneys are doing, and it's been favorable. So
Well,
But Coach Dr.
admin can rank them if we want,
But
and we
Dr.
could
Rivera
accept
didn't
it.
give us a recommendation. He didn't say this is who I want. He said you guys pick.
Dr. Rivera, your opinion.
Well, he can't.
I don't want to put you in the
He's putting
spot,
you on the
but you know.
But this is why us as a board, we have to really do our homework and read through every item. So, because if I know I'm not going to be comfortable ranking, then I have to go back to my board president or my superintendent and say, hey, I don't like this item as ranking. Can you just say based on this admin's recommendation? We have to do our homework too and plan.
Yeah, I'm fine with going with the admin's recommendation with, based on their ranking, but when you do an RFQ and there's a selection based on that RFQ, there needs to be a ranking that that selection is based on. I mean, that's just,
Okay, so let's be transparent and we'll do a ranking out loud. Very simple.
unless you disagree with me, David,
How does it work?
and I know you don't.
Right.
Well, what we can do is just, we could prepare the ranking sheet.
Okay.
I just need a few minutes. By the time you get into executive session,
Okay.
then you could have that.
So, how do I move on legal after the substitute motion was made
we're gonna move
to
it.
table it?
We're gonna make a motion to move it.
I'll rescind my motion.
Right.
Okay, so he rescinds his motion of the substitute motion, and now do I have a motion to table this item?
Well, no, you still have to the other one. You still have trustee Nietos that he has to rescind.
Oh, he has to rescind so they can get the
So
ranking
that
sheet
you
ready.
can, so that you can move
Okay,
it on
Mr.
the
Nieto,
agenda.
can you?
We have to vote on that, accepting,
Well,
because
no, it's up to him.
once the
Yes, he wants
motion's
to
been
keep the motion,
made,
then he keeps the motion.
it's
Oh,
second, it
okay,
becomes
so
property of the board, right?
Okay, so he can keep his motion and not wait for the matrix of rankings. Okay, Mr. Nieto, it's up to you.
Or he could readjust his motion and then move it to a verbal ranking.
I'll keep the motion.
Okay.
Okay, he's going to keep the motion, and the motion was for Purdue
To continue.
to continue
As
for
our-
2 years.
Correct.
Okay, we'll go ahead and, right? And you'd say no if the ranking, if you don't feel comfortable with the ranking?
But he resented it, right?
Because I thought he was gonna rescind his, but.
Guys, working on integrity and trust here on LSG.
I just honestly
So we
don't
need to
understand
remember.
why we can't have a presentation. I guarantee you, not everybody looked at the packets
Yeah.
and looked at the.
There's 3 different things going on here with.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, we can take it to a vote, and if it doesn't pass, then we can do whatever.
Okay,
Well-
let's avoid this whirlwind and just take the
But,
motion, and if it doesn't
let
pass.
me ask the lawyer a question, though.
Since there's only 2.
Do you think if the board moves forward with that motion and approves it, is it legal or illegal?
Well, I would say, based on the RFQs, I think we need ranking.
Yes, I do too.
I do too, but. Legal, you tell me. That's why we pay you guys. Tell me.
Just your motion and just do a verbal.
Okay, so we have our attorney's advice, so I'll resend my motion, all right? So that way we can rank them.
That's safer.
Okay.
That's safer.
Prepare the sheets, and we can do it after we get out of here.
Now that the motions have been rescinded, now we can make a motion to table this item until at the end of the meeting?
Then after executive session.
After
Yeah, we're not
executive
gonna
session?
table, we're gonna move it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna move it.
And then you can ask for a workshop, or I don't know.
No, it's clear, I mean, yeah, it's clear nobody wants a workshop, there's.
Okay, so you
Okay.
present your motion.
Okay, so this has been rescinded, and we'll move it over to after executive session.
Correct.
Okay. So then, that takes us to item 11B, Human Resources Department. Discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider renaming the Weslaco High School Athletic Complex to Chip Vasquez Athletic Complex. Do I have a
move to
motion?
approve.
Okay, you have a second?
Second.
Okay. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote to approve the athletic complex, the Chip Vasquez Athletic Complex. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
And it's aye for me, so motion approved. And now we'll move on to the closed meeting. Yay! Mr. Vasquez. Before we go really quickly, Mr. Yes, sir, you may. This is Mr. Vasquez.
Former board member.
Yes, sir.
Believe me, I know ranking and all that. First of all, you made an old man very happy. In behalf of the Gonzalez, which I have all my brothers-in-law there, And the Vasquez family, I'm sorry, my daughter is right now with the Vipers at the game, and my granddaughter is also at the Vipers. But we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I know my wife is sitting right there, and I know she's saying,
Board President.
good, good. So thank you. Thank you very much.
And they also give the Chip Vasquez Memorial Scholarship every year. I was the recipient of that at Weslaco High, class of 2001, so that's just, wow, it's very special. All right, we'll move on to closed meeting to discuss 12A, Personnel Matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. A1, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on certified professional and non-contractual personnel. 12A2, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. And 12A3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. It is 7:51 p.m. and we're going to close session. 8:19 PM, and we have reconvened in open session. And we're going to go back to the items that we had tabled to come back to. And the first one was the LSG board self-evaluation. It's being passed around right now for signatures. So do I have a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second? Second. Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote to approve the board self-evaluation. Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye.
Mr. Castillo?
Aye.
Mr. Trevino?
Aye.
Mr. Nieto.
Aye.
Mr. De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes to approve the board self-evaluation. Now we'll move on to the item which we also tabled, which was the 11A2 Purchasing Department, discussion and possible action for the board to rank the firms that submitted qualification statements for delinquent tax attorney services, RFQ number 24-02-23. And Mr. Robledo is ranking them right now?
Correct.
Okay.
It's 1 and 2, sir.
Mr. Aguilar, we all signed it? Oh, they didn't sign it?
Not
Okay,
yet over
sorry.
here. Have you signed it, Jessica?
No, no.
And while we wait, just for future reference, whenever it comes to ranking,
Thank you, sir.
legal, I would like your advice. If it's just two people and the item is for ranking, what can we do? Do we just, like Mr. Nieto said, just verbally say, this is the person I want, or rank them like that?
Requires if it's an FRQ, just ranking.
And-
Basically, the item agenda is also discussing possible action for the board to rank.
Okay.
So then, if the board wants to later on say, I don't want to rank, I just want to pick somebody, you as legal in our agenda, how would that be worded?
Like that.
Right, at the
Right.
discretion of the board, yeah. And
At the discretion of the board?
Yeah, I think Dr. Rivera, at some items, that's what he puts, and so at that point, you just make a motion and you make.
Correct.
Okay.
So in the future, it'll be, if it's ranked, it's ranked.
Yes.
Regardless of how many. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. How long will it take you? So next time we just, when it's just.
Yeah. Did, I would determine to rank and, okay, move, okay, rank.
Like you were saying. Where'd you shoot it, here in Texas? Yeah. No, we know.
Look at this.
Okay. You say it, sir. You're used to it. So they get it. Okay. Okay, so we got the rankings, and the firm that was ranked higher was Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott's. Okay? So do I have a motion now to approve the rankings?
I'll make a motion to approve the rankings.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes for Purdue. All right, now we'll move on to the 13A, council, oh wait, I already did that one. Reconvened open meeting. 14, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. 14B, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on employment or certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. Do you have a motion? Okay. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes. 14C, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified personnel and non-contractual personnel.
Move to approve.
Okay, do I have a second? Go ahead and take it to vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Motion passes, takes us to adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. 8:24 PM and we are adjourned.